Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to introduce to you someone who's absolutely changed my life, and I'm so excited to be able to interview him here. And for fun, we both specifically decided for this interview, instead of getting into business gear, to leave on our hoodies as a representation of what Demir has done for me in my life. What he's done for me is give me my time back. You know, time is the most precious resource any of us have. You can't make more of it. You know, it is what it is. And working with Demir and talking to Demir and learning some of the great principles I've learned from Demir, I've managed to get consistently 40 hours a week worth of work done in 30 hours a week. And that gives me time it gives me choice, right? I can either choose to keep building my business and continue to work 40 hours. I can take those 10 hours and put them toward my personal relationship, my health, or just having downtime to relax. What Demir's done is give me my life back. And by the way, let's also say that Demir's been so successful in getting his business set up, he's actually moving to Spain to run it from Spain.
Yeah.
So this is a
Digital
man,
nomad.
this is a man who walks his talk in that he's gotten so much of his life back, set himself up so efficiently that he can actually decide that him and his wife are going to move to another country and run the whole company from there. So
Yeah.
imagine if you could learn the skills to do that for yourself, what you would change in your life.
That's and I'll say that's what we want to create for people. That kind of freedom. That's what
Yep.
we're really in the game to do.
So I'll tell you a little bit about him. He's a productivity expert, actually runs a company called Life Hack Boot Camp, has been written up in magazine after magazine, been interviewed on countless television shows. Mr. Demir Gjokai, productivity expert.
What's up?
Yes,
Hey, Mike.
good to have you here. And first off, tell the audience, why is it that you're so passionate about productivity? And I love your take on productivity. You say I'm not giving you your time back so that you can just overload yourself and do
Yeah.
even more. I'm giving you specifically say, your time back so that you can have choice, either to keep working and get more done or to have, as you say, be more alive, present, and joyful.
Yeah.
So what is it? Why is this such a passion for you?
You know, a lot of productivity programs are about work more,
Yeah,
right? More work, right?
yeah,
And we live in a culture that's sick. It's work for work's sake. The reward for hard work is more work,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And we don't believe that. Is I can talk till I'm blue in the face about getting people 10 hours in the week back, 20 hours in the week back. We've gotten
yeah,
people, really living the 4-hour work week, really getting their time crunched down. But what it really is, a lot of people don't need that. They would just love to get back to a place where they felt great about themselves at the end of a workday.
mm,
They just felt like they could clock out and look in the mirror and go, "You nailed it, Demir. You
mm.
nailed it." Because that gives you permission to go back and live your life, to go to your kids, to go to your friends, and really be fully present, fully engaged. And if you think about it, Mike, that's what's really sick with this society is we don't give ourselves permission to live our lives because we're so stressed and fearful that we haven't done
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. So let's talk about this. Would you say, are the top three challenges people come to you with? And then what are the top three tools you give them to eliminate those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the top challenge that people come with is distractions. The
Yep.
top, and because we have a culture filled with these, and these are distraction generating.
Yes.
Ooh, look, it wasn't in my bag, and I'm guilty of it too. Now it's not on, thankfully it's
Right.
not on, but it was right. It's right there. I mean, and everybody watching this will be able to look to the right or left and see a phone right there, and those phones are engineered to distract us, to grab our
Yes.
attention and pull us in. And what happens every single time you switch that context, studies show that you lose about 55% of the efficiency that you might have had in any given hour if you're moving back and forth from a phone. And it doesn't feel like it, because it's so quick, we don't sense it with it. Oh, I checked the message, now I'm back. But now, as your mind is reframing between the two, you've lost speed, you've lost
I
momentum,
remember you talking about that.
focus. And so
Right.
that's the number one pain point is distraction. And the number one solution is so simple that it's smacking you right in front of the face is, when you're working for 25 minutes at a time, just turn this sucker off and you are going to experience a huge boost in your productivity.
Now, this is something I want to say as a coach, because you just said it. My clients, when I initially say it, they freak, especially if there's something like, let's say, a real estate agent. My clients need me all the time. I have to be available. And you have a beautiful thing you say about this, because the number 2 tool that you always talk about is work blocks, which I'd like you to share a quick type on. And you say, if you're working in Pomodoros, if you're working in 25-minute increments, is there really anything in your life that's so urgent that it can't wait a maximum of 25 minutes for a callback? And it might not even be 25 minutes, because maybe you're halfway through your work block and you get some call. Okay, so now they're waiting 12 and a half minutes between the time they call you and the time you take a break and return their call.
Exactly.
It's not that big a deal.
Our ego, doesn't it?
Right.
This sick modern society that we live in really feeds our ego, because it tells us that we are important and that the world will crash down on our heads if we are not available at every single moment. But the reality is, unless you're a nurse or a doctor and somebody needs their medication right now, the reality is there's almost nothing that can't wait for 12 or 15 minutes when you finish your work block and you answer your messages.
Yeah. And this is what I love. So your first tool is turn off the things that distract you. And you know what? The world will not disappear. And then the other thing is work in work blocks. That you talk about, Pomodoros, where you're working at 25 minutes at a time, and then on one task only, and then taking a 5-minute rest.
For those of you who know about Pomodoros, then you already sort of understand this, but you should be using them. For those of you who never heard the concept Pomodoro, you can go onto our website, lifehackbootcamp.com. We have a whole free masterclass that you can take to block out your time 25 minutes at a time, so that you're getting optimal focus, you're blocking distractions, and studies show that not only do you work 55% faster, you work happier, you're happier with your work, and you make fewer mistakes. So if you're interested, if you don't know what Pomodoros are, you have no idea what Mike and I are talking about, you can go to our website, www.lifehackbootcamp.com, and we have a free hour-long masterclass where you can learn about this tool.
Beautiful. So first thing is turn off distractions. Second thing is work in work blocks, where you've blocked off 25 minutes to focus on one task and just get that done. And as you said, sometimes it takes 2 work blocks to get a task done. So 25 minutes, rest for 5 minutes, go back into the same task for 25 minutes, rest for 5 minutes.
Chunking up your time.
Chunking up your time. And what's the third tool? What would you say is the third major thing?
Is easy. I always like to give an easy one on the third one is what I call bidding for time. So Mike, how many times have I come into your office? I mean, this really hasn't happened, but how many times has somebody come into your office and say, Mike, you got a second? But what's funny is, how many times in your entire life has it actually been a second?
Never.
Or even 10 seconds or
Never.
Even 10 minutes, right?
Right.
These got a second things always metastasize into an hour-long thing, or a 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
Right.
The solution here is to always immediately change your instinct to say, I've got 5 minutes, is that enough? Now think about this. For you to just instinctually change that from saying yes to saying, yes, I have 5 minutes, does that work? What you're doing is you're saying, I don't have a second, but I have 5 minutes. And I'll tell you what, Mike, 90% of the time, their response is gonna be like, I don't know, you know, it might actually take longer than 5 minutes. And then you get a chance to say, okay, well, great. How long will it take?
Right.
About 25 minutes. Okay, great. Can we schedule that for tomorrow? So now, instead of allowing people to impose their schedule on you, that very simple mechanism, I've got 5 minutes, is that enough? I found in 90% of scenarios can allow you to get that person to define how much of your time they actually want, and gives you an opening to say, not now, let's reschedule it for tomorrow.
I love that. That's absolutely beautiful.
Totally.
There's so many books out there about this. There's so many, things people can read. People have read them and they don't do them. And what I love about the boot camp styles is that you have a small group you're working with. You have a buddy you're working with. You have accountability. That every week you do a new skill. So you're like, this week we're going to work on this one skill. This is what you're going to master this week. You're going to work on this with your buddy and be accountable to each other. And that gets you from just reading about it to actually implementing it.
What we do is we've taken 10 years of productivity work and crunched it down into 8 weeks, where you can spend 3 hours a week for 8 weeks with us. And and we will absolutely transform your productivity, your infrastructure, how you get things done, and magnify that. And the way we do that is we create a team, just like a boot camp. There's a coach, there's a team, you have a buddy who calls you twice a day. And so we bring an accountability framework so that instead of just telling you what you need to get done, well, 90% of the time, Mike, you already knew what you needed to do.
Right.
The problem isn't, a lot of people out there watching, they know Pomodoros, they've read all the books. They need a group of people to force them to do the stuff that they know they need to do.
And make them accountable.
Doing, not the knowing. It's in the accountability and the support. And so that's what makes Life Hack Bootcamp really special, is we get in there with support and accountability, and we get done the stuff that you probably know you should already be doing. But this time, because there's a team, because there's accountability, we actually get you doing it.
So I know your next one is starting what? Today is the 1st of June.
We've got one this coming Sunday, and then 3 weeks from this Sunday as well. Right? So we've got one on June 5th, and then one at the end of June, 3 weeks from June 5th. They start on Sundays, they run on Sundays. Yeah, so that's coming up pretty soon. And Mike, I'd love to toss your community a discount if that's okay.
Sure. What are you going to do?
Yeah, so for anybody who's watching this video, and as part of Mike's community, I'd love to invite you to join for $200 off the price that we normally offer it for anybody else. So, Mike, can we put like a link, on Facebook or something that people can?
If you give me a link, I'll put it up with this video. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. I guys, Mike not only has joined 2 boot camps, but he's a mentor of mine. He always says that I've coached him, but Mike has actually coached me because he's just like that. But anybody who's connected to Mike is a friend of the boot camp, and we'd love to supercharge your productivity.
There you go. Well, I love it, sir. And, I highly recommend it. What I love about it, it's 8 weeks. You master one skill a week. So it's not that you get all these productivity tools at once. Demir teaches you about one skill. You spend the week working together with your group to master that habit. You have accountability about mastering it. And once you really got a grip on it, you move on to the next skill. And by the end of 8 weeks, you've gotten your life back. Then gang, I highly recommend this. There'll be a link with this video. Go to that link. Work with Demir. I mean, he's very generous, giving $200 off for this. And I guarantee you that if you feel like you don't have enough time, you're always stressed, you're overwhelmed, you never feel like you're getting enough done, when you get done with Life Hack Bootcamp, that will not be true for you anymore. So thank you, Demir,